Now we are going to discuss the relativistic variation of mass. So as we know, the mass also depend upon the relative motion between the observers. So I will try to establish this relation in this lecture. So I will use basically the conservation of momentum principle to establish this relation. So let's first assume that there are two frame of references. Since we are talking about relativity, so we will first talk about frame of references. This is the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. This is S frame of reference, and assume that there are another frame of reference. Okay, S dash. S dash is moving with velocity v around x-axis. Okay, so this is the x dash, y dash, and z dash axis. Now, what I am going to assume that mass is different in different frame of references. So I will first consider that suppose there are two masses m, equal masses, two equal masses m. Okay, one is moving in this direction and other is moving in this direction. Both are moving with velocity u. One is moving with velocity u in positive x dash direction and other is moving with velocity minus u. Okay, it means with velocity u in negative x dash direction. So for the two masses in S dash frame of reference, their mass are m, velocity is u. Okay, for the second mass we can consider its mass is same. We have assumed that the mass is same and their corresponding their velocity is in opposite direction, so I am using here the negative sign. Let's assume that corresponding mass is m1. Okay, and their velocity component, since m is, I am taking m is the mass observed by O dash and this is observer O. So m is the mass observed by the observer O dash, and what O dash notes its mass m and velocity u, and it also notes the second mass m and its velocity minus u. But for the observer of S frame of reference, that is O, it measures its mass, first mass. It measures the first mass m, corresponding mass of m is m1 and its velocity. You know the velocity is relative quantity. In the previous we have derived the velocity addition rule. Now, so let's see, if us dash is the velocity component, then their corresponding velocity component different frame of reference will be given by this relation. So I am assuming that u1 is the corresponding velocity component of u and u2 is the corresponding velocity component of minus u of the mass m, and their corresponding masses will also be different. Let's it m2, let's call it m2. So m1 and m2 are the corresponding mass measured by the observer O, and velocity will be u1 and u2. I think the problem is clear. M is the mass, call it first mass, and this is the second mass. M is the mass of the first object. Okay, m is the mass of the first object, and I use the velocity of the first object in S dash frame of reference. Similarly, m is the mass of the second object, and u is the velocity, minus u is there since it is moving this direction, so minus u is the velocity of second object in S dash frame of reference. Now what will observer O will find? He will note that corresponding mass is m1 and velocity is u1 because of the relativistic effect. Similarly, for the second object, corresponding mass will be m2 and velocity will be u2. Okay, so now our aim is to relate m and m1, m and m2. Okay, we have already related the u1 and u, so I will relate these using the conservation of momentum principle. So as you know, according to the conservation of momentum, initial momentum should be equal to the final momentum. So in S dash, frame of reference, before collision, in S dash, okay, before collision, the momentum will be momentum when, since m is approaching, this is nothing, there is no minus sign, m is approaching towards, these two masses are approaching each other, so initial momentum will be before the collision, since they are in the same direction, so they will collide at some instant. But before the collision, I am talking about before the collision, what will be the momentum? M multiplied by its velocity. Now test the second object, uh, it will be mass m, velocity plus mass m multiplied by its velocity, that is minus u. So the initial momentum before collision is 0. Okay, now consider when they collided, means when they interact with each other. At the time when they interact with each other, we can, when they collide at the time of collision, so at time of collision, what would be the momentum? At the time of collision, you can consider them, at that time they will be at rest in s dash frame of frame, momentarily at rest. Actually they collide, so you can say that they are at rest. Suppose it is coming in this direction, this is coming in this direction, when they collide, means they will interact each other at that time, at that instant, they will be equivalent to a body of m plus m with velocity, because they, when they will uh, at the instant when they will touch each other, means they collide each other, at that time its net velocity will be 0. Okay, their velocity will be 0. So you can write, at the time of collision, m plus m multiplied by its velocity, that is 0. Okay, so you find it, you get it 0. Okay, so here you see that in s dash frame of reference, initial momentum, that is initial momentum is equal to final momentum. There should be no doubt. Okay, what I have written, since the momentum should be conserved in s dash frame of reference, so you can see here the m is the mass in s dash frame of reference, and this mass is moving with velocity u in the same direction, means these two masses are approaching each other in the same direction, so m second mass is moving with minus velocity, with negative velocity, that is minus u. That's why you have written momentum, initial momentum, that is before collision, is m multiplied by u, m multiplied by minus u. So you see the initial momentum is 0. Now when they collide, at the time of collision, what will happen? They will be a, their mass will be together. Okay, and their velocity will be, at that time, at the time of collision, they will be momentarily at rest. That's why I have written their velocity as 0. So m total mass is m plus m multiplied by their velocity, that is 0. So you get total momentum at the time of collision is 0. So you see here that initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So momentum remains conserved in s dash frame of reference. Now let's see what happens in S frame of reference. For the observer S, how the observer O will see these two events, okay, before collision and after collision. So for the observer before collision, let's see, write it in S dash frame of reference. Again, momentum before collision. Now I'm talking about S dash frame, S frame of reference. In S frame. So far we have discussed in S dash frame of reference. Now I am going to discuss in S frame of reference. Momentum before collision should be equal to momentum at the time of collision. So how will I write? So before collision, for S frame of reference, mass is not m, mass is m1, and its velocity is not u, but its velocity is u1. Similarly, for O frame of reference, before collision, mass is mass of second object is m2 and its velocity is u2. Okay, we don't know what sign, na? So I will write just u2. So before collision we can write m1 u1 plus m2 u2. This is before collision. Okay, now what happens at the time of collision? At the time of collision, uh, at the time of collision, uh, it was these two bodies were at rest in S dash frame of reference, but when they were at rest in S dash frame of reference, so anything which is at rest in S dash frame of reference, that will be in motion for the observer of S frame of reference. Why? Because S dash is already moving with velocity v. So at the time of collision, it was at rest in S dash frame of reference. But for S frame of reference, the whole system is moving with velocity v. So you can write here m1 plus m2, okay, multiplied by v. This is the final velocity because it was at rest. Here you have written 0, but this is not 0 for S. For S, these two bodies at the time of collision also moving with velocity v. Okay, so what we see in S frame of reference in S. So what we have found in S frame of reference, this equation m1 e1 plus m2 e2 should be equal to m1 plus m2 multiplied by v. V is the velocity by which S dash frame of reference is moving with respect to S. Okay, so you see here the u1 and u2 are the velocity. u1 and u2 are the velocity component of the same object in S frame of reference. So you can relate u1 with u and u2 with minus u. How will you relate? You have to use velocity addition rule. Velocity addition rule. Okay, so you can write u1 using the velocity addition rule, u plus v divided by 1 plus uv by c square. So let's see the previous page. So this was the your velocity addition rule. V was the velocity of the observers, relative velocity of the observers. Okay, and us dash is the velocity component in S dash dash frame of reference. So I have written here, u, the velocity component, you can see here. Okay, so I have written it as u. In place of us dash, I have written u. U is the velocity component in s frame of reference. U is the velocity component in s frame of reference, and v is the relative velocity of the observers. And so in place of us dash, I have written u. Okay, no problem. So this is correct. So similarly you can write u2 is equal to minus u, because the second component is minus u. It is moving with minus u velocity. That's why I have written minus u plus v divided by ub by c square. Sorry, minus uv, because u is in negative here. Okay, so these, so you can obtain u1 and u2. What is u1 and u2? You have obtained the u1 and u2 how? Using the velocity addition rule. Okay, velocity addition rule of using velocity addition we have already established. Now in the previous classes we have discussed the velocity addition rule, so we have used that velocity addition rule to get u1 and u2 in terms of velocity component u and minus u. Now what I will do next, I will substitute u1 and u2 in this expression. See, in this equation I will substitute u1 and u2. So we will get, sorry, it's not visible. So we will get m1 into u plus v divided by 1 plus ub by c square. Okay, plus m2. Now u2 can be written as minus u plus v divided by 1 minus ub by c square, m1 plus m2 multiplied by v. So we have written this equation using the by adding the velocity addition expressions of velocity. So you can, now we have to simplify this. So we will take the common. Here is the m1, so we can take m1 common, and it will be u plus v divided by 1 plus uv by c square. So this term will, when m1v will come in this side, then there will be negative sign, so you can write it v. Okay, similarly on the other side I can write it m2 is equal to m2 in bracket v minus u plus v divided by 1 minus uv by c square. Okay, there should not be any confusion so far. So let's further simplify it. So you can write it m1 u plus v, and when you multiply with this you will get minus v minus uv square divided by c square divided by 1 plus uv by c square. Okay, similarly in the this side you can write now we will cancel to this v and we will cancel to this v. Okay, when we will add these terms, so you can further write it as m1 u minus v 1 minus v square u by c square. Okay, divided by 1 plus ub by c square m2 u minus v square u divided by c square whole numerator is divided by 1 minus vu by c square. Okay, let's write in the next page. So this is the equation. Now you can take u common from this bracket and u common from this bracket, so they will cancel to each other. Now we will have the expression m1 1 minus v square by c square, okay, divided by 1 plus ub by c square. Similarly in this side you can write m2 1 minus v square by c square divided by 1, okay, 1 minus vu by c square. Okay, so this term will cancel each other. Now we have the expression m1 by m2 is equal to 1 minus 1 plus uv by c square divided by 1 minus uv by c square. Okay, so let's remember this equation. Okay, we'll further simplify. Let's call it equation A. So this is the relation between m1 and m2 in terms of u and v. Now we'll further simplify it, but this time we'll go in other way. Let's calculate for u1 square by c square. Let's see what values comes. 1 minus u1 square by c square, since calculation is already done, but for simplicity you can see that 1 minus u1 square c square can be expressed as 1 minus u1, you know the u1 is u plus v 1 plus uv by c square. Okay, so we'll substitute for u1 here, that will be u plus v divided by 1 plus uv c square, okay, का whole square divided by 1 by c square. Okay, when you simplify it, you will find this, that 1 minus u1 square by c square is equal to, I am not going to do the further calculation, you can do yourself, and you will find that this is, if you will not be able to do, then I will do again, but you should try it. Okay, so when you simplify it, you will get the expression 1 minus u square by c square. I am not doing this just to save the time. 1 minus v square by c square, okay, divided by 1 plus uv divided by c square का whole square. Similarly we can write the expression for 1 minus u2 square by c square. Okay, so you have to substitute the value of u2, that was minus u plus v divided by 1 minus uv by c square. Okay, when you will substitute here, you will get the final expression 1 minus u square by c square to 1 minus v square by c square divided by 1 minus uv by c square का whole square. So this, let's call it B, call it equation C. Okay, now what we will do, we'll divide these two equations. Okay, so when you will divide it, what you will get, 1 minus u1 square by c square divided by 1 minus u2 square by c square is will be equal to 1 minus u square by c square 1 minus v square by c square divided by 1 plus ub by c square का whole square, whole express these all terms were for this much, and so we will write for this, that is 1 minus e square by c square, 1 minus v square by c square, okay, divided by 1 plus 1 minus uv by c square का whole square. So this will cancel this will cancel this, so you will have the final expression 1 minus uv by c square का whole square divided by 1 plus uv by c square का whole square. Okay, so from here you can write the expression for m1 and m2. Now first write it 1 plus uv by c square divided by 1 plus 1 minus 1 minus uv by c square. Okay, 1 can be written as square root of 1 minus u2 square by c square divided by 1 minus u1 square by c square. So this is okay. Simply you can write it as 1 minus u2 square by c square divided by 1 minus u1 square by c square. I think there should not be any problem here in this calculation. So further let's see your formula for m1 and m2. So using this expression you would be able to write m1 by m2 is equal to 1 minus u2 square by c square divided by square root of 1 minus u1 square by c square. Okay, so you can write it as m1 multiplied by 1 minus u1 square by c square is equal to m2 1 minus u2 square by c square. Okay, now let's see this expression very carefully. What is m1? You remember m1 is the mass. m1, this is s frame of reference, this is s dash. So m1 is the mass of first body and u1 was the velocity of the first body. Similarly m2 was the mass of this body, second body, and u2 was its velocity. So this is m1 multiplied by this term is equal to m2 multiplied by this term, where u1 and u2 is their corresponding velocities of uh, the given mass in s frame of reference. Means u1 is the velocity of m1 and u2 is the velocity of m2. So this term is, this multiplication is constant. So let's assume that since this is constant, let's assume that this is equal to some mass m naught. Okay, since m1 is moving with velocity u1 in s frame of reference, m1 is what you see here, in s frame of reference mass is m1 and velocity is u1. Similarly for the mass m2, its velocity is u2. m1 and m2 was same in s dash frame of reference. Only different thing was they were moving in opposite direction, but their corresponding velocities, m1 is moving with u1 so corresponding mass is m1 and it is moving with u1 velocity, and their corresponding mass m2 is moving with ut velocity. So these two masses are moving with different velocities, but their multiplication means multiplication of m1 with this term is constant m2, and this term is constant. Let's consider it m0. So you can write it m1 is equal to m0 divided by 1 minus u1 square by c square, and m2 is equal to m0 1 minus u2 square by c square. Okay, so you obtain this relation m1 is equal to m0 divided by square root of 1 minus u1 square by c square. u1 is the velocity of mass m1 okay, and u2 is the velocity of mass m2. Okay, so what you see here, that if u1 is equal to 0, in the condition when u1 was 0, m1 will be equal to m0. So this m0 is rest mass. When m1 velocity of m1 was 0, then it is equal to m0, so you can say m0 is its rest mass. Similarly for mass to m2, if its velocity u2 is 0, then it will be equal to m2 is equal to m0. So m0 is rest mass of m1 and m2. If, and you can see here, since they are moving with different velocity, when they are moving with different velocity, their mass is different. So the rest mass is same, m0 is same, but when their corresponding velocities, when their velocity is different, their mass is different. So from here you can conclude that mass is relative, means mass is relative, mass is 1 minus v square by c square. You can get this expression. Okay, so this was our aim to establish this relation, that mass is also a relativistic quantity and depends upon the uh, uh, relative motion between the observer. If not is the mass of any object when is in a frame of reference in which it is at rest, then in a frame, if the frame of reference is moving with some velocity, then their mass will be equal to this much. So you will get some higher mass in a frame of reference which is at rest. Okay, so now you can see that length, time and mass all are relative, and also the velocities are also relative. Okay, so now I am going to stop here. So in the next class we will discuss about E is equal to mc square expression, means mass energy equivalence relation. Okay.